Today we're heading out to hike Wilson Mountain, which is actually the highest mountain in Sedona. It tops out around 7,100 feet, maybe just a little bit higher. It is known to have incredible views looking down into Sedona from the top, and I am super excited. I have been craving a big hike, a big adventure, and this one, while it's not going to be humongous, it should be around 7 or 8 miles to get to the top, well, round trip. And I think we're probably going to have about 2,500 feet of climbing. Most of the hikes in Sedona kind of just meander around the mountains and the red cliffs, so there's not a lot of climbing, so I'm really excited to be out here today and check out all these views. You can just barely see it, but looks like we got the first snow of the year, well, first snow of the season in Sedona. There's some really tiny little snowflakes on the ground. I don't know if that even counts, but it doesn't snow too much here, so it's nice. And it's also New Year's Eve, so the very last day of the year it snowed. It almost feels like we're walking through Zion National Park right now. We have this huge canyon wall in front of us that I'll show you, and the sun is hitting it just perfectly this morning. We just passed 1 mile. We've climbed 750 feet so far, so definitely a steady uphill climb, but it's been awesome so far. You really can't beat these amazing canyon views that are all around us.
So Doug doesn't like his collar whenever we're hiking, and he shakes around a whole bunch, so we take it off, but then he wants to carry it in his mouth. Doug, Doug, Doug.
I got it.
Good boy, good boy. Yeah, there you go. Oh, okay, and then he drops it every time. Nice work getting up here.
I know. That was kind of a lot of switchbacks.
Yeah, it was. And cold.
Yeah, but now the sun is out and it feels so good.
Yep, and we're on this flat ground. It's pretty interesting to come right up out of the canyon and then be on flat ground.
I know, yeah. So we've gone 2 miles so far, climbed 1,500 feet, climbed up a bunch of switchbacks, was pretty steep there for a while, and right now we're at what's called First Bench.
It's on the map. It's called the First Bench.
Of Wilson Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first bench of Wilson Mountain, which is this kind of like big flat plateau, evens out 360-degree views. It's really beautiful, and I think maybe some people stop their hike here, which it still has been so gorgeous up to this point. But after we get through this part, we're gonna have another climb up to the top of the peak.
Yeah, next we're headed up this trail and then up there, and then I think that somewhere back there is the actual Wilson Mountain peak.
So to get up to this point, there are 2 different trailheads that you can choose to take. So the one that we took was the North Wilson trailhead, so we came from that way. We also could have parked at the Midgley Bridge?
I don't know.
I thought it was Migley, but there's a D in there.
It might be Migley.
Midgley Bridge. Parking, which would have taken us from that way, but then you join at this point and both trails lead up to Wilson Mountain. We chose to park at the North Wilson Mountain trailhead, which is It's not called that, I don't think. Down at the bottom of the parking lot it's called some picnic area. But we figured since we were getting there around 8:30 in the morning, the picnic area would probably be less crowded than the bridge area. The bridge is a pretty popular formation that people go to where it's just a viewing point basically. So we thought that parking lot would probably be a little bit more crowded, and we were right. We drove past it and there were a couple of spots, but not too many left. But when we got to the picnic area, there were probably only 2 other cars in the lot. So if you're getting here pretty early, we'd probably recommend starting in that trailhead. So we're making our way up this last climb. We just passed 3 miles and 2,000 feet of climbing, and I can see down below where the bench was, where we were saying it was a flatter portion. So if you can see the flat plateau down there with a bunch of trees, that was where the first bench was. So we came up from there on this second climb, and we're getting pretty close to the top. So technically, I think what you can see back behind me is the official Wilson Mountain Peak. That's the peak that's marked at 7,100 feet. The really popular overlook to go to here is just called the Sedona Overlook, which takes you a little bit away from the peak. So that's what we're hiking to first, and then we're gonna backtrack just a little bit and see if there's a trail that will take us actually to the peak. So we're steps away from being at the Sedona Overlook, and right now we're just going to put the dogs on their leashes because it might be a cliff up there. Well, what do you think?
What a hike.
I know.
It's literally a national park.
It really looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. The canyon walls are so deep.
Yeah. It looks like that hike we did in Zion.
I know, you're right.
Out to Observation Point.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah, that real snowy.
Snowy.
Yeah. Yeah, so stunning. So we made it up here to the Sedona Overlook. I think it goes without saying. It is absolutely amazing. So we didn't have any good hiking snacks at home, and we didn't feel like stopping at the grocery store. We did have a full jar of peanut butter, so I just brought that instead. And yes, of course we're gonna share with the dogs, but they have to wait because I also only brought 1 spoon. So you need to wait, just a little bit. I promise you'll get some. So we've filled up on peanut butter, enjoyed this amazing view, and now we're gonna head back towards what we are guessing is the official peak and try to actually summit that. I don't know if it counts if we don't fully summit it, although on the map there are 2 Wilson Mountains marked. It's a little strange. Over here is marked as Wilson Mountain, and then also that peak that we pointed out is also marked as Wilson Mountain, and it's a little bit higher, so we're gonna try to go do that now.
So that is Wilson Peak, the highest point up here, 7,100 feet. We're gonna see if we can make it up there, if there's a trail. So unless we're missing something, it doesn't seem that there's a trail to actually go to that highest peak that we saw. So we definitely don't want to just go off trail and make our own path. So I think we're just gonna call it here and turn around. Since Wilson Mountain was also marked over there, I'm wondering if that's what they consider the peak that you can hike to. I'm not totally sure, but we're gonna still say we hiked to the top of Wilson Mountain. This has been an absolutely awesome hike. It's getting cloudy and a little chilly out, so we're gonna make our way back down to the bottom now.
So we're still making our way down. We have 1.5 miles left to the bottom, and I'm so happy that we got out early this morning because, like I said, it got super cloudy. So we were out here when the sun was shining, there were blue skies, and it was nice and warm.
Jackson. Oh. Good boy, buddy. Good boy. Did you like your hike? Good boy.
So we made it back to the car. All in all, we were a little over 8 miles with around 2,500 feet of climbing. What a fantastic hike in the Sedona area. I would absolutely recommend. So the GoPro died just as I was finishing that clip, and it's now plugged into the car, which is why we're at this weird angle. But I was just saying that I would absolutely recommend hiking Wilson Mountain in the Sedona area. It was awesome to be able to climb the highest mountain in the area, and the views were just unbeatable. So thank you as always for watching. If you're not already, we'd love if you liked and subscribed to our channel, and we'll see you on the next adventure.